Good morning, good morning. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Not too bad, but our voice is just
It's gone after all that shouting, doing some instructional training.
yes. Oh man, has it been? It was fun though. It was fun.
It was very good fun, good fun. I feel tired even though I've had some sleep. I still feel tired. I think it's just the up and down, the dancing,
Yeah.
most nights, and the boogieing, and some of the alcohol as well. Some of it's alcohol and juice, definitely. But good morning, Wolf Michael. Good morning to you, sir. And good morning, Adelaide Mackenzie, who was with us as well in the hot tub. I'm telling you, those of you that are not friends with me on Facebook, you couldn't miss it because it was all over there. Every day that I was in there, I'm in the hot tub showing off. I love a hot tub. Getting one in my house shortly. HPQ's hot tub's coming up imminently.
Yeah. And you know what? Is the girls are always going in the hot tub, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to gate crash the girly night in the hot tub. But I crashed it for one night, and
You did crash it. You did
Yeah.
crash it.
only one night. I let them have their girly nights and the girly day, but I had to find out what was so exciting about this hot tub. Keep talking about it, this hot tub.
Oh, thank you very much for allowing me to have my girly night. Thank you, sir. I didn't realise I needed permission, but noted.
I just said I crashed the girly night. I didn't give you permission. You had your girly night. I was crashing it. I should say thank you for letting me crash it.
It's true. But anyway, good morning, Spice Nice. Good morning, Kimmy. Good morning, Cheryl A. and Laurie. And Lady AJ and whoever else is on. I'm trying to scroll way back. Susan Simpson and Spice Nice. Well, what have we got on the news today? We missed out on yesterday, so we've got lots to probably get through today. But the first thing I want to say is, do you remember the Damilola Taylor in Peckham when he died? Well, his father Richard Taylor has died. He campaigned, yeah, he has. He campaigned tirelessly against gang violence after his son's death 24 years ago now. Can you believe it's been 24 years? In 2000. It's a long time, and he was only 75 years old as well. So that's a shock and a shame. But he did his, after his son died, he just as much as for the other Stephen Lawrence, his parents, two sets of black parents that absolutely worked hard in their community to bring about change and to campaign for change. And it's just such a shame that our streets are still not how we would want them. All what's been done is that Peckham was regenerated. It's now a posh area now. Most of the violence, I don't live in Peckham, so forgive me if I'm quoting rubbish, but it feels like the same level of violence that was in Peckham then is not there now. It's been moved out to different areas, different little pockets, but Peckham, it's trendy to live in Peckham as it is Brixton.
But it's all these areas that were like so-called kind of slum areas. They've been regenerated, like Hackney, you've got like Brixton, you've got Peckham, you've got various areas where everyone's just moving and they're pushing out all the families now out. You can't afford to stay in Peckham or Hackney, certain places. I went down Sandringham Road the other day. It used to be front line, and it's you wish you could afford a house around there now.
I think because people actually saw the fact that people were moved into there when they first immigrated into the UK, and these areas weren't considered prime areas, right? They were near tube stations. Tube stations weren't considered a prime place to live next to. But as London and the UK and England has evolved, it's everyone wants to get to work and everyone wants to live near some sort of transportation links. Therefore, the housing properties around the transportation links boomed. And of course, the people that wanted to buy into those areas had money, overbuying, raised the prices, so forth. I'm not into the world of finance and property finance, but I'm assuming that's how it's happened. You've got people that have got money that are moving into the area that are pushing up the pricing. As soon as you see a Marks and Spencer's in an area that previously didn't have one, you know that the area is changing. Or if a Marks and Spencer's moving out, the area is changing also. So one of the two. If they're moving in and out, you know what's happening to the area. But anyway, coming back to Richard Taylor, I just wanted to pay my respects for the work that he did in the community, and it needs to be remembered. I hope it is. We need some kind of statues or something in regards to him also. And it's just such a shame that we have significant people like this that die. But, he did some work in the community, and as I said, praise for that. We need more parents like him to come out and campaign for change.
Yeah.
But anyway, as we said, we're saying rest in peace to Richard Taylor.
To Richard Taylor, that's it. Yes.
Your microphone is very loud, Sharky. Take your microphone down a tad.
All right, I was just told that it was low. Okay, all right, there you go. There you go.
Ah, thank you. Right, so another bit of news I want to bring you to. Now, I was just, as I do, TikTok and YouTube also. So Tom Cruise, do you know, Tom Cruise drives fast cars, right? He's known for having some kind of superpower car or whatever. But did you know that he was banned from buying a Bugatti?
No, no idea at all.
Tom Cruise is permanently banned from buying a Bugatti. And I was just like, why? What happened? But basically, when he was promoting Mission Impossible, he had a Bugatti car come to the film premiere. And let me show you. In fact, let's show you what happened. Because after this is when Bugatti put an actual ban in place. If I do have it. Did I have the video up? Please say yes, I do. Watch this. So basically, he drove this Bugatti to the Mission Impossible premiere. Now, these cars cost in excess of £3 million, right? 3 million to 12.5 million pounds one of these cars cost. So he's showing off a Bugatti, right? He's got all the Bugatti top people there, all the top dogs from the film premiere. And what happens? He comes out the car and he couldn't open the door. He couldn't open the side door to get the girl out. Bugatti were outraged because it was caught around the world. Millions of people watched Tom Cruise not be able to open the car. What that did for its brand, and that's what they are absolutely peeved against, because people were like, well, can't you open a Bugatti door? Is it that difficult? Why am I buying one of these cars? So, yeah, the incident left Tom Cruise being permanently banned from ever owning one of those cars.
How the rich live, eh?
He'd just buy himself a Lamborghini, of course, you know. He doesn't need a Bugatti. Have a Lamborghini or some other supercar that you can pay for, you know.
I think them cars are kind of worth up to what, 2 million or 2 million or 3 million or something like that.
I just said the car's worth in excess of 3 million, between 3 and 12.5 million. Those cars are worth. So yeah, they have a prestige that hangs above their head also. So you have to do right by the car. You have to be able to open it, close it, get in, get out, not scratch it, crash it. It's too much pressure for me. Just leave me alone with a Ford, you know. I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that. And coming back to the last point, G4 says right to buy. Families have bought homes and sold out. Yes, correct. That's what's caused a lot of this also. But yes, coming on from Tom Cruise, I'm just going to quickly touch upon this subject because I've made light of this over the past couple of weeks. And this is to do with Kate Middleton. And finally, they've come out. She's come out and made this announcement, this shocking announcement, which has shocked everybody, and everybody's probably just sitting there thinking, "Oh my God, I said all these things, and the poor lady have got cancer." And the conspiracy theorists are still coming out. Now, I'm going to stop with the conspiracy theories, all right? In respect, even though I don't believe in the royal family at all, right? But in respect of someone that has an illness, I am not going to ridicule the poor lady. I think she's gone through enough as it stands. I think the royal family shook her out and hung her out to dry, and maybe there is other things going on. But right now, we need to put a stop to this and let this lady convalesce in peace. And the news will come out when it's supposed to come out. But what I don't like, of course, and what I'm going to speak about is the backlash on Meghan Markle. It's still continuing. They're still picking on her. They're still picking on Harry and saying how, they only found out, by the way, when the public found out. The royal family did not let them know in advance through fear of them putting out the story ahead of anybody else. So they were scared that they would go and talk to media or friends or family. So they found out at the same time the public found out. So that's quite difficult to bear. But one of the good side of things that I want to speak about. Now, I saw a picture. They said Meghan Markle's mother had been spotted out in America. And this woman looks amazing. And her mother is Dorothy Ragland, and she's 67 years old, and she looks absolutely amazing. She does. Look how she's positively glowing, as far as I'm concerned. And that don't look like there's no surgery going on there whatsoever. But she's a beautiful lady.
Yeah,
absolutely beautiful lady.
She doesn't look like she's had any surgery. When you zoom right up to her face, she actually looks like she's just growing old gracefully.
Exactly, that's the words I want to use, and just glowing with it as well. She's got all her natural wrinkles and everything. She's absolutely amazing. I saw those pictures and I thought, wow, I hope to look modical of that when I'm 67 years old,
Yeah, you better.
Million. In 2023, right, last year, 87% of UK adults owned a smartphone. 87% of UK adults owned a smartphone. That's how much mobile phones are ruling the day. Now, what's more frightening... Sorry, you was going to say something?
No, I thought you said how many mobile phones were owned. You mean percentage? I didn't realise.
Sorry, that could be my mistake. But 96% of 16 to 24-year-olds own a smartphone. 96% of young people between the ages of 16 and 24 own a smartphone. And just over 69% of over 65s own a smartphone. And we spend an average of 4 hours. They say, I don't know where they get 4 hours and 14 minutes from. There's always this anonymous figure. But we spend an average of 4 hours and 14 minutes a day on our smartphones. Now, if we're talking about internet users, right, there are 66.11 million internet users in the UK, which is around 98% of the population. And only 7% of households, they're saying, do not have access to the internet at home. Only 7%. That's still a lot. And a quarter of those, age over 65, actually don't have access to internet at home. So that's a quarter of them. Now, there are estimated 60 million mobile users. 60 million mobile users, gosh. And 1 in 5 internet users go online only via their smartphone. So 1 in 5 people will only go online via a smartphone and won't even use a desktop. And 81% of people say their smartphone keeps them up at night. I can attest to that. I'm going to put my hands up in the air because when we can't sleep and we go on TikTok or YouTube, we're up for another few hours. There's not like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's another few hours. And then 76% of people with smartphones use banking apps. I do that as well. And banks are forcing it upon us. When you sign up for a bank, especially like Monzo and Starling and Revolut, download the app. The application is done solely through the app and there's no counter. So you can imagine, I can understand that statistic there. Now, the most popular mobile network in all regions, with almost 1 in 4 people connecting to it, is EE. EE is dominating.
Yeah,
They've got 20.
They are the biggest network providers, definitely.
Yeah. So I just thought I'd give you some interesting stats via the smartphone. My worry is that 96% of 16 to 24-year-olds own one. In fact, that wasn't the worrying statistic. In fact, I was listening. What made me look into this is I was listening to LBC Talk Radio, which I do most of the time when I'm in my car. And they were talking about, I think it was 7 to 12-year-olds and the statistics of those owning a mobile phone, which was as high as 80-something% of young people between the ages of, I think it's either 7 or 9 to 12, owned a mobile phone. Now, in this day and age, I feel like we need to equip our young people with a mobile phone. I feel it's really important because we don't know what's happening out there on the streets. We don't have telephone boxes anymore, so they have to be able to connect with us somehow if they're out there alone. So I believe in that. What my problem is what they've got access to, what they can connect to. And a lot of it is just too much. There's too much content out there that's way too violent and way too much that a 7-year-old should know. When we were growing up, we grew up quite innocent. We wasn't exposed to everything. We relied on what we were told and what we saw in the news, which for some people can believe was right or wrong. But having a 6 or 7-year-old exposed to hardcore pornography is not right, as far as I'm concerned. Should not be able to download it and view it, and a lot more needs to be done. And the conversation that I had with people also is that these big record labels can take their time to shut down when you're playing music on Facebook or YouTube. They will shut you down, or if you run an ad with their music on it, they will just mute it completely, or it will get banned, or YouTube will ban you or something. But when you have extremist content or illegal content running on YouTube and TikTok and all these platforms, it takes a bit of time. You know, we get told it takes time for our teams to go through this. You know, there's thousands of these images coming through every day. Well, there's thousands of people running music every day, and that seems to work quite effectively. There's no problems there in that when these big companies want to earn their money. But when it comes down to this kind of material, it takes time and so little is done. It just makes me wonder a little bit. And G-Force is saying, Sharky, wake up. Wake up, Sharky, wake up.
I am up.
I've been listening to everyone saying, Sharky, wake up, Sharky. Are you awake now, Sharky? I gave him a moment. I had to have a word, everyone, all right? I just know I had a word with him to say, come on, it's morning, we are here. So hopefully Sharky's with us, back with us. Are you back with us, Sharky?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, you know what? I've got something that probably will wake you up just a little bit. Get the hairs on your back going. Because you know I always talk about food, right? Always find these foods that people are eating. And I always know you guys love a chicken. You love a chicken, right? So all you guys that love a chicken, and girls actually as well, maybe you should try this. There's another food. Last week we had chicken ass.
Chicken ass, yes. Remember that one?
Yeah, well, this is what we got this week.
This is one of the coolest foods in the world. It's cow vagina. Because of its unique position, it's loaded with bacteria. Eating too much of it can cause cancer, but Vietnamese folks still love its taste. If you want to eat it safely, you gotta wash it real good. That helps get rid of some strange smells. Then you gotta start scrubbing. Can't forget the air holes. Gotta be thorough. So you gotta use a knife to scrape off all the black parts. It's a real long process, but you gotta take it seriously. Once it's all cleaned up, it turns white. Now, don't rush to cook it yet, because it's got some black hairs on it. Gotta gently remove those hairs with a knife before marinating. For marinating, you need more than just the usual spices. Gotta have some lemon juice too. After an hour of marinating, throw it in a pot with some red spices and mix them up real good. This spice is only found in Vietnam and gives it a nice color when cooked. No need for water during the whole cooking process, just coconut juice. Finally, cover it up and let it stew for 2 hours. The coconut juice and the meat, they have this magical chemistry going on. Now, to add some more flavor and depth, you can throw in some chili and garlic while it's stewing until the broth's nice and thick. Then you can scoop it out. All you gotta do then is slice it down the middle into thin pieces and serve it up on a plate. Finally, dip it in some sauce, pair it with some Vietnamese veggies, and you're ready to eat.
Cow nani, eh? Anybody want some cow nani?
We're serving up cow. Listen, come to HPQ's next week and I'll do you a nice pot of cow nani with some coconut water, some lime juice. All that prep though, it's a lot of prep.
Let me tell you something, you now get me to yam that day.
Cow nani.
Any want some cow pumps? Now let me see.
Kelson P says no.
I can see Janet eating some of that.
Oh, it was Whitney said you don't stop there. You got to scrub it till the hairs come off and all that black's got to come off. I mean, I don't know what's worse, actually scrubbing it, knowing what it is, or eating it knowing what it is. It's just wrong on all levels. But it looks like it could be tasty, but I'm not trying it.
You know what? Admittedly, when I was looking the way that he was slicing the meat, it actually does look quite tasty, but just the thought of it is like,
Sharky.
Cow pum pum, get rid of the smell. It looks tasty. I mean, it looks like something that you would eat. You know what I mean? I mean, God knows, enough people yam them thing there anyway.
Oh my gosh, we've got a couple of things going on here right now. So obviously people are still responding to Cow Nani. It's a bit early in the morning, isn't it? I know. But I was also on Facebook the other day and they were talking about this, name something that black people never throw away. I don't know about anybody else. The other day when I was moving out my house, I had how much butter containers in my cupboard stocked up. When the butter finishes, you keep those containers to send someone home with a little piece of meat or something. I had hundreds of them. So that's something that we always keep. And plastic bag. Always pack up my cupboards with a plastic bag and always going out and buying more plastic bags rather than using the ones that I've got in my cupboard. But we have some old time things that we kind of do. Is there something that you do, Sharky? Do you keep? I notice in your home you have a little couple plastic tubs in your fridge also.
Do you know what? You've got a couple of them, but you know what? I've been just dashing them away. I'm like, what am I keeping them for? But it's one of those things where you go to people's house, you see, the Chinese food, and then they finish it, they put it in the sink, wash it, instead of dash it away. Even when you go out and you finish eating, instead of dashing it, you want to take it home and wash it and for food. Tupperware.
Exactly. And Delight says black people never throw away margarine tubs. It's so true. We don't throw those things away.
Bad habit, innit?
I'm telling you. But coming back to the last subject now G-Force said, I think it was G-Force that said, he don't mind eating the cow nani, but it's the cancer bit that's worrying. Now, let me just explain something to you guys now. Now, over the past 2 decades, there's been a rapid increase in throat cancer. Okay? And it's called, the main cause of this cancer is the human papillovirus, or whatever the pronunciation is HPV. Okay, which is also the cause of cancer of the cervix. Now, or I can't pronounce the name, sorry. The throat cancer has now become one of the most common cancers now, and it is sexually transmitted. HPV is sexually transmitted. So if you are having oral sex with someone that has this, you could be at risk of getting throat cancer. All right, and this is very serious. This is not me messing around or trying to put people off or frighten or scare people. But you have to be careful with your partners. That's what I'm saying. Just as much as you are having sex with your partners, the practice of oral sex is also very important. And people have to be clean on both sides, right? Not just females, the males too. Okay, so just remember.
Wasn't there some actor that had some throat cancer because of that? Last year.
There was a joke about it. Now, Kane. Yeah, Kane does this Instagram. I can't remember what it is. There's 3 of them. I can't remember what his name is. Mr. Tate, Mr. Richard, or he does it with this guy with white gloves, and he often has guests on, and they run jokes. Now, there's a guy he was previously a dentist who has now become a comedian, and they had him on and they were talking about, I heard you could get cancer from oral sex, and the guy said, yes, it's very true. And just as G-Force was talking about that, it led me to find this article just to let you guys know that, you may be practicing oral sex, but you've got to practice safe oral sex, please. There is a risk of cancer. HPV, not HPQ, HPV.
That sounded a bit worrying there.
Right.
HPQ.
Definitely not HPQ. Don't align it to HPQ. Please don't do that. But last week also we were talking about Nana Akua and her comments on Diane Abbott. And she was on a GBM news show, and a guy took her to task in her comments, and it got a bit personal. So I just want to play this, and then we'll play some tracks, and we can come back and probably talk about this. This clip might be a little bit long, but it's quite significant, actually.
Been told that I should go back to Africa and I should be deported. Free speech, supposedly. I was born in this country, but your viewers often tell me I should be deported. And I'm speaking directly to you, Nana, now. Not to GB News and not to Patrick. But no matter how many wigs you wear, no matter how many times you throw your fellow black women under the bus, as you did on the show the other day, you will never, just like myself, be more than a talking monkey to a lot of these people.
All right,
listen.
Before you throw away all those comments and tell me my fellow black women, I've never met any of these women. I don't know any of these women. I don't represent any community of people. I represent Nana Akua. I'll be judged by the content of my character, not the colour of my skin, and definitely not by you. And as for being called names, I get called loads of names. Let me finish, because you've spent time talking and I've listened. But I am entitled to my opinion, and my opinion is not based on the colour of my skin. My opinion is based on my thoughts and views, and I listen to what I've been told, and I make a fair judgment given the information I have. I don't look at myself and say, I must follow these people because they are all the same colour as me. I will not do that, and I will not do it, and I will not be told by someone like you that that's what I should be doing. I'm Nana a queer, and that's how I want to be seen.
Okay. And they would as happily see you deported as they would see me deported, Nana. That's the truth.
Who are they?
No matter how much
who
you
are
dance
they?
for them.
Who are they? Who are
the racists who abuse me online every time I appear on this show.
Well, people who are racist. Well, listen, I get black people abusing.
What does that tell you about the audience?
Listen, who are they? Who are they that would happily see?
As I just said, it's the racists who abuse me every time I appear on this show on Twitter. Call me a big nose, say I'm a gorilla, say that I should be deported back to Africa. Look on Twitter. Google
You're both shouting over each other now, and we are gonna leave it there. I would just before I park it, I would just like to say, absolutely condemn any racism that either of you have received, and also towards Diane Abbott as well. I hope that goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. Also, I am going to give you an opportunity, Femi, just to quickly apologise to Nana about something you said about something to do with how many wigs she might wear or anything. I mean, it was potentially quite personally offensive. You can come on this show and make points, political points or whatever. But I think when you do attacks like that, would you like to withdraw that comment?
I can withdraw the comment about the wig, but I won't withdraw the comment which says that people will they will happily see you deported as they would see me deported. No matter how much you dance for these racists, they are not going to see you as an equal, Nana.
Pathetic.
And I say that from a place of love.
All right, well, look, both of you, thank you very much. Obviously, we could have carried this on forever, but unfortunately, we're out of time. So, there we go. Right.
Been told that I should...
I love it. No matter how many wigs you wear. I think I know where he was going with that one.
I think what was so funny was the commentator in the middle when he said, would you take I think you mentioned something about how many wigs she wears, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is just like, this is I think ridiculous.
He was like really, he was actually bringing it up. But you know what? The way she was talking, saying, I don't know none of these people, and I understand none of us know each other, but the point that he was making about they would happily see you deported just like me, you might not see yourself as a colour, you might see yourself as Nana Uku or whatever, but if it came down to all of us going into that ship and all of us being pushed, right, doesn't matter who she is, she would get pushed with it as well. And she's not recognised, she's not acknowledging that.
No. Who are they? I represent me. Sorry, go on.
I don't know what she's trying to defend. I really don't know what she's trying to defend. But that woman is not on the same planet as me. She's somewhere up in Pluto or somewhere outside of Pluto.
It's just shocking. Some of her words, who are they? I'm not part of the community. I am Nana Akua. That's who I am. That's all I represent. I mean, you are a voice of black people. Any person that's in a position, a prominent position, is a voice for black people. And to go against them and condemn them, I'm not saying that you should stand up for things that are wrong. If they're wrong, they're wrong. That's fine. But to be against every step of the way, from Black Lives Matter to Diane Abbott to anything, it just feels like there's no community feels spirit. You're forgetting the colour of your skin. You're forgetting your ancestors. You're forgetting everything and just living for now in the Tory party with your white partner, living the life of someone who's not black. And that's all I'm going to say on that matter, because otherwise I'll use some expletives at this time in the morning.
Yeah, I think we can move on that. But I think she needs a reality check, and that's what she's not getting, is a reality check. Like when you see those films where you get separated from what you're used to, and you are now with these people, and you're now being herded with the sheep that goes this direction, and that is how you are, and not because of who you are, because of what they see.
Exactly. And I was watching a video this morning with Candace Owens. I've come to have a little bit more of a newfound respect for her, for how she talks and what she talks about. And I used to have her on the level of Nana Akua, but I don't anymore, considering what she advocates for, what I think she stands for. But she's having a conversation with a rabbi because she called someone a hag, and it was someone who was Jewish. And they're saying, taking offence and telling her that she's anti-Jewish because she called her a hag, and she's saying, but I think she's a witch. That's what I'm saying. Yes, but, you don't know the connotation of that, because when a hag was, she said, hag is used in nursery rhymes to represent witch. Well, you don't know the connotations of nursery rhymes and what hags represented. And it was really Jewish people that they said were witches. And this is where the nursery rhyme comes from, the hag. Look it up. You are wrong. And I'm just sitting there going, you can't say a word against the Jews. You really can't. And then someone comes out and says it's about Diane Abbott. Apologies said, and everybody is saying it's okay, and all black people are railing against the Tory party, but they're still taking money from this donor, and everything else is swept under the carpet. And we still, as black people, are raging, but saying, okay, let's move on. Next. I just want to say good morning to Miscellaneous. Good morning, my darling, and good morning to Dee Brown. And Willow is having a little frenzy on my lap here because I haven't been here for a couple of days. So she's sitting on my lap, not leaving me alone. Now, one bit of news, there's a couple of bits of news that are quite important that I want to bring on. One, I'm going to talk about pensions and when you're married and so forth. I'm just trying to get the proper article I was looking for. And then I want to talk about this stuff that's going on in the news about women's pensions also. Now, we always think that our finances are going to be okay when we die, but we really do have to remember that we need to get our finances in check. If we don't have a will, the government is going to put your house in probate, and it's going to be a couple of years of wrangling between family members before anything can be assigned or even sorted out. And if you're a family and you've got your parents who are married and money goes direct to their spouse automatically and doesn't get passed on to the kids or grandchildren and so forth, it's a little bit messy. So please try and spend the time to get yourself a will together. And I will talk about, before the end of the show, the Red Cross is giving away free will making also. If you want to get a will set up, the Red Cross will help you do that for free. Now, I know they could call... Wills can cost anywhere between $300 up to $2,500, depending on your estate, depending on how much money you've got to distribute. But if you're like the rest of us normal people, it shouldn't cost you too much money. I ain't got too much wealth to distribute, I'm telling you. So that's it there. But again, if you are married, let's talk about pensions here also. And I often talk about this as a real big laugh and say, you know what, when you're looking for a partner now, make sure he's got a good pension. Okay, you need to be looked after. We're not going to be too here long on this life. So you need to make sure you're looking for someone who's going to be able to look after you, or vice versa. Now, I didn't know this, that the pension laws had changed way back when. They do hide these things. And when you get married, previously you got married to your partner. If they passed away, you were entitled to their state pension, their personal pension, or anything else that they left in the will, especially if you were down as the next of kin also. However, with the state pension, and there was an article about a gentleman saying he just recently got married. He's a retired army officer. And he wants to know if his wife's going to be entitled to his pension and what percentage she will get when he passes on. And he kept saying that he couldn't get an answer back from the DWP. So he wrote into this financial specialist. And basically, he's saying that after 2016, okay, if you were eligible for your pension before 2016, your state pension will be passed, and you got married. Okay, this is before 2016. Your state pension will be eligible to be passed on to your spouse if you die. After 2016, if you've had a spousal part, if you've married someone, okay, doesn't matter if you've been retired, doesn't matter if you just married someone. Say Sharky and I got married in 2019, I would not be entitled to his state pension. Maybe his personal pension, and he'll be entitled to my personal pension, but not my state pension. I'm not entitled to his state pension, which is quite difficult. They're saying now it's based on the individual and it doesn't get passed on. And I'm sitting there thinking, what a con this whole government is. This whole world is a con. And they keep taking money from you time and time again. So the person that you've been married to has worked up and racked up all this state pension, and you're telling me that their partner is not entitled to it, despite how long they've spent with them. But if you get divorced, they're telling you that the partner has to give away the lifetime of their money to their partner if they've been married for only 2 or 3 years or something like that. This is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It really is. And totally unfair on each partner, because if you've got a mortgage together and your partner dies and you've left with that mortgage, and say there's still a bit to pay, your personal pension might not be able to cover it. It was covered with the both of you. And if you've only got one coming in, that's it. That's all you've got to survive on, fix or do whatever. And I think it's a shame. I think your state pension should be passed on to your kids or your spouse. It should be able to be passed on to someone in your family. I'm not just saying your partner, but it should be able to be passed on to someone to benefit from the hard work that you've done for the country, not for the government to take it back. That's scandalous. Absolutely scandalous.
It's big scandal. Massive.
It really is. And I urge you guys to read up upon this. So you guys that are not married, thinking about getting married, please note all this down. Please, please, please. It's important information for you guys to know.
Right.
But anyway, we were talking about pensions just before that. I'm astounded. I'm upset. And I don't want to know any more about that. It's not fair. It's just not fair. But something else as well that I was reading about that I kind of need to discuss with you all is the fact that there was a woman, okay? Now, she was a swinger, right? And she's suing the NHS for more than 10 million for damages after she broke her neck and she was left paralysed when she dived into a swimming pool when she was drunk at a club. So this lady got drunk at some swingers event, seriously drunk, dived into a swimming pool and she broke her neck. So the ambulance service came, took her to the hospital. But what she's saying is the way that the ambulance service handles her, they could have stopped her from being paralysed, and hence the reason why she's suing the NHS. Not that she was drunk and dived into a swimming pool. Nothing like that is taken into account, like the stupidity of her behaviour, but the mere fact that the ambulance people didn't take care of her. So they're saying that staff saw her floating in the water and carefully got her out while her partner called 999. That's what she filed, okay? And she claims the paramedics caused further damage that paralysed her when they transported her in a track chair, which is a wheelchair that they use to transport patients who have got a neck injury. So they said that they didn't support her head and dropped her, causing her to hit the floor. Now, if that's true, that's something different, isn't it? But was that the cause of her injury, or was it her being drunk diving headfirst into a swimming pool? I don't know. I reckon it's her diving headfirst into a swimming pool. But the fact that she wants to take the NHS to court and sue it for 10 million, of which us, the taxpayers, are going to end up paying. As per usual, it comes back to us, right? All the time. And I think that's just totally... something has to change in this kind of law. And I don't understand. I understand when people want to sue the NHS, but if we're constantly suing the NHS, where is this money coming from? Government is pouring money into the NHS. They're getting all these expensive managers to work for and pay their staff pittance. And then they get sued time and time again because their wage, what they're paying people is so low, it's not attracting the right calibre of people. Yes, good people are there, but not the right consistent calibre of people. Therefore, people are not doing a great job. Therefore, accidents like this are happening. I mean, I wonder if they've done any kind of tracking of what it would cost if they actually paid people more and looked for better staff and trained people up more versus the bills that they get in litigation through courts and the eventual suing of the NHS. Their legal bills must be significant. I'd love to see what the legal fees are that the NHS has paid out throughout the last 10 years through them having various people taking them to court. It must be unusually high. It's got to be. And good morning, Mr. Martin Winter. Good morning to you, sir. Before that, we were talking about an article to do with pensions. We talk about lots of things that are up for discussion at the moment, and this lady that decided to jump into the swimming pool drunk and wants to sue the NHS for 10 million. 10 million! It's almost like the lady last week that was at Hammersmith and Fulham with the Grenfell victims, with the fire, and she got sacked and she sued her council and she won, is it 46 million or something like that, or 146 million, some unreal amount, whilst the victims are not even getting that each. So it just goes to show how the world is a little bit corrupt. It depends on who you are, where you work, what you're doing, as to what you get paid out. Other than that, if you're like us, it's not going to be very much ever. But the good news is that teachers are going to be given 1 day off a fortnight. So what's been touted. And this is in Solihull at the moment. they're in a school in Solihull, they're going to be given 1 day off a fortnight in a bid to motivate staff and attract new people to the profession, because they haven't got enough teachers. As we know, a lot of schools are being taught by supply teachers. There is a massive shortage of teachers. Record number of them are leaving the profession, so there's a big gap. And there's a lack of motivation. And of course, if you're a teacher or in the nursing profession and you're seeing everybody else get to work from home, you kind of get to feel, I don't have that luxury. And even though the schooling hours are from maybe 8 till 4 p.m. or 8 till 3:30, they're still there afterwards till a full working day. And a school day, and I've worked in a school before, a school day is it's quite a thing. That's all I can say. Those of you that are teachers, all I can say is that I applaud you for working in secondary schools, because it's quite a mean feat to go into these secondary schools and teach these young people now and try and get their attention and keep their attention. But there's not going to be any impact on their pay, thank the Lord, because you know a lot of these jobs working from home want to reduce the pay because they say you're not in the office, whereby really they're saving money for you not being in the office.
That's
not
right.
them teething money from you because you work from home. That's ridiculous, because you're still using your own electricity. All right, so I think travel is the good thing about that. But the problem with travel also is that, you know, the rail networks only account for if you're traveling for a week, right? What about all these people that are only traveling 2 or 3 days and you have to buy a week's pass, or you have to pay the amount every day? There's that unfairness there also. So sometimes us working from home people don't always lose for the amount of money that you pay when you do have to go out and travel. But I believe in the work from home theory. I think it should be something that all companies should offer just a natural thing. Do you want to work from home? We only ask that you come into the office once or twice a week, and that's it. What is this? I need to see you every day, because I go in from 9 till 10. I drink tea and chat. I am not productive between 9 and 10 a.m. when I go into the office. Sometimes up until 11, because then the boss comes around, you sit down, you have a little chat, little chin chat, talk about all sorts of different bits and pieces, and then my meeting starts at 11, and I'm going to start my meeting. And then by 3:30, then we go to lunch and we might walk slowly back. That's an hour and a half taken in. So I'm less productive at work than I am at home. You might think that I might be sitting around and not doing much, but sometimes I log in a little bit earlier, apart from when I'm doing the radio. Sometimes I log in a little bit earlier. But so, you know, for some people, there is that productivity, and of course their own family life. If you've got young kids and you need to pick them up from school, and the amount of times people have had to rush from work just to get home for that 6 o'clock deadline from the childminders is not funny. You know, so it releases a lot of that. It releases the tension and the stress that people go through and makes you a little bit more productive. Your headspace is better. But companies don't want to see that. They just want to see you work to the bone, and then they come and take your money, and then you die, and then you can't give it to your partner. You know, what's the point of anything, you know?
That's the whole plan of the government and the world as it is, and the top 1% just want to keep those underneath working so that they can rule the world for centuries and centuries and centuries to come. And will we ever get out of that?
Yeah, I know. And you know that the pension age is rising to 67 people, all right? I was planning to retire at 65. I've got 10 years to go. 10 years, that's what I'm planning for. Now I'm planning for that. I'm going to be pumping money into my pension, because I'm not retiring at 67 for me to be at the NHS and at the doctors every day because my legs are spent, or, you know, things are falling apart. I want to be able to live a little bit of life, even at 60. Maybe if I could do it, 60. If I stopped going out and stopped buying dresses, shoes, bags and coats, I could do it. But anyway, it's 9:29. We've been moving swiftly ahead with the Breakfast Flight Show. I've got another video for you guys to watch. It's video day today, you know. Haven't been doing a lot of videos recently. So this is not one about food, okay? So don't worry. It's not about chicken or cow, pum pum, or whatever it is. Have a listen to this.
What is it about?
Tell me,
what is it about?
Tell me what you think.
The whole Diane Abbott situation. Number one, feminist groups, it's time to stand up and be counted, because you lot are hella quiet right now. Number two, black people, on an economic standpoint, we need to get organized. We need to put our money together so we can get us some respect and economic power.
Yes.
We need to, number three, then put real people in positions of power, not people like Nana or Kemi who don't know who they are because they are dancing to the fiddle of Massa. If you want to keep telling us we're 4%, then our 4% needs to rise up and be known. You're going to feel the 4% in England and in the UK, because we're going to come together. We need to do this now, because if we don't do it now, it's only going to get worse, because today it's statements of what you want to do. Tomorrow it's going to be done. We saw what happened with Jo Cox. She's an MP, a woman as well, that was killed. We want to protect Diane Abbott at all costs. She must stay protected.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know, I keep seeing these videos come up about black people should rise together. We need to start building our own communities. And to a certain extent, we've been doing that. Okay? I've seen Black Pound Day. I've seen directories come up about where you can buy black goods. And I think people are getting a little bit more conscious about where they're buying their stuff from. We still have large pushes into buying luxury goods. It's still seen as a big deal to have a Prada or a Versace or something else. And we're not looking at the manufacturers and the retailers that are black and trying to get them up in the market. We're looking at costs. Oh, them cost too much, you know. But if you're supporting, you know, you're doing something for your own community. You're pushing money back into your own community. And there needs to be a circle of money. This getting your money and spending it outside of the black community is not growing us at all. And we need strong leadership, as she was saying. You need strong leaders that someone will look up to. Diane Abbott is not the person people are going to look up to. Bernie Grant wasn't the person that Bernie's going to look up to. Kemi Badenoch is not the person people are going to look up to. Nana Akua, most definitely not. I don't even want to hear her name pass through my mouth, to be quite honest with you.
She should be on the other side.
Listen, she needs to just paint her face.
She needs to be on the other side.
Do some detanning or whatever it is. But she is on the other side. Not needs to be, she is on the other side. But we need someone who's strong, someone who people will respect, and someone people who will follow. And I don't know who that is. I don't see any candidate out there saying, you know, that's a person I will aspire to and start listening to. And if he said something or she said something, I'm going to follow my leader. We don't have anybody like that. We're ready to give up and say, no, it's not worth it. But, you know, this young lady was talking some truth there. She really was. And I just hope that amongst our children, our young people will do the job that we're clearly not doing. And good morning to DJ Juicy. Good morning to you, my darling. And for the next couple of weeks, I'm going to be covering Juicy's show on a Thursday while she takes some much needed time out to do some bits and pieces. So look out for me covering her show from 8 till 10 on GY Radio on a Thursday from next week. And I hope to look after your show for you, Juicy, and can't wait for you to come back. And a definitive good morning to Miss L Vibes. Love you like cooked food, young lady. Good to see you back online. I hope you're good. Love you loads. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about, which has now come off my screen, I can't believe that. We've been talking about so many things this morning, going through a myriad of subjects. And we were talking about food. And the other week, we were talking about chicken. And we were talking about eggs specifically, and people talking about I buy free-range eggs or organic eggs. Now, I'm going to try and get a copy of this footage sent into the Mixcloud. Sharky can probably share it on his one, and I'll share it on my Mixcloud. But there was some secretly filmed footage shows appalling conditions inside farms supplying free-range eggs to Sainsbury's and Aldi's, I think it is. And the RSPCA has actually stripped 3 of them of their assured status because of the conditions. Now, these free-range egg farms that supply to supermarkets, yes, they've been stripped, and these covert operations that were covered by the RSPCA plus other groups flew drones over the farms, discovering that these free-range hens were not let out on any of the multiple days that they were filmed. So when they filmed the secret footage, they revealed that tens of thousands of birds were living in dark and cramped sheds and were surrounded by the bodies and skeletons of dead hens. Wow. And in some cases, the horrific conditions made the hens distressed, causing them to lose feathers and exhibit behaviours towards each other, including cannibalism, bullying and aggressive pecking. And also what they were saying, they found also injured and sick hens that were unable to reach food or water on the upper tiers, and so were left waiting to die. The 5 farms that were investigated were Harper Farm in Leeds, and also another family farm in Leicestershire. Lucy Hinch's 3 family farms in Leicestershire. Now, the farms provide, as I said, eggs to brands at major supermarkets across the UK, including Sainsbury's, as I said. And Harper Farm in Leeds, they have 46,000 hens housed across 6 sheds. And they said they witnessed distressing scenes of overcrowding Like I said, cannibalism, neglect, and bullying from the hens. And then footage shows also bags filled with dead hens. Maybe those are the ones that go to some of the butcher houses that sell on to the unsuspecting public. This is the danger that frightens me. And the ones that are unable to reach food, there's dead carcasses all around these live hens that are feeding and laying eggs. One hen was being filmed being brutally pecked to death. And not once were they given any access to outside. Now, one worker in the farm's award-winning cafe was covertly filmed stating that Harper's Farm supplies eggs to James Potter Eggs, which are sold, listen people, at Tesco's, at Co-op, Sainsbury's and Asda. All right, these are James Potter's eggs, and sometimes they come under the own branding of the stores, like it would be Tesco's own free-range eggs or Co-op free-range eggs or Sainsbury's and Asda. Now, Sainsbury's have come out and wholeheartedly denied that any of these eggs are being supplied into their stores. Yeah, right. There could be a backlash if they admitted that, right? A spokesman for Asda said they're not currently sourcing any own brand eggs from the farms mentioned also. And then Sainsbury's did admit at first that Farmer supplies less than 0.1% of its own brand eggs, which means they're being distributed out there. You can't, just because it's 0.1%, that's still a significant amount. That could still mean thousands or hundreds of thousands as far as I'm concerned. So yes. And there's another farm which supplies 21,000 eggs, which is the company Stonegate. I don't know if you've heard of them. And they supply eggs to Ocado and Sainsbury's. But this is the one that Sainsbury's said they don't use eggs from Stonegate. They use them from Harper's Farms, but not Stonegate's or James Potter's, which one I said. But again, all of these farms were seeing not having any of these hens being let outside and distressing situations for these hens. And also they found some hens that there's a disease where the eggs are stuck in their stomach and they can't lay them, and they're walking around with these, you could see these eggs protruding out of their stomachs, and it's a very slow and painful death that they go through. So all these hens that they say that are free range are just stuck in these big chicken feeding houses and just fed, and they just take the eggs, and I don't know if anyone scoops out the dead chickens, maybe once a month, maybe once every 6 weeks, who knows. And don't forget, we have levels of chickens, because what I don't understand is the pricing of chickens, right? You go to Marks and Spencer's and their chickens are like, £10 for a chicken. You go to Aldi's and it's £3. What is that £3 chicken? Is it one of those dead chickens that they say is fit for purpose? Because they'll flow it through and say, even though it's dead, maybe it's less than 24 hours, maybe we can sell it as chicken, we'll sell it to the cheaper stores. We don't know. All I know is that when I see broken legs and burnt ends of chicken that show signs of chicken hock, which is chicken urine burn, I'm now just saying, maybe it's time to just give up meat again. Maybe it's time.
It's really hard, isn't it, to give up meat? I mean, I love eggs. I mean, I eat a lot of eggs, but I tend to buy the more expensive egg, and I do notice the difference. I mean, I've literally fried 2 eggs together, and you put one in and one on the other side, one on the right, and you literally can see the difference in some of the eggs compared to some of the cheaper ones. And the taste is, if you do eat egg regularly, the taste is very different. In terms of the farms, we have no idea what we're eating out there. We just eat what we're told. It says free range, and I guess a lot of people will go for free range or organic eggs, but we really and truly don't know what it is that we're eating out there. There should be an inspection. These farms shouldn't be able to get away with it. There should be some form, I'm sure there is, but get out there and inspect these farms, and
do something about it. Do an inspection.
When you take them by surprise, what's it called again? I'm brain blocked.
Well, a surprise inspection.
Surprise inspection, yeah, but there's a name for it. Unexpected,
unannounced.
Just turn up, unannounced inspections, and that's what's needed. Yeah, and regular, because these are people's food. This is what we're eating, right across the country. I mean, like you said, in Sainsbury's, you see the free-range eggs, Tesco's. But if they are being kept in the conditions of Happy Eggs or whatever, which is just cheap eggs, it just makes sense, doesn't it? So,
well, do you know what? A lot of people won't care the condition about their eggs, and that's fair enough. But don't sell me eggs that you're telling me are... Well, I know, but a lot of people won't, right? So to cater for those, that's fine. But all I'm saying is open and fair explanations and communications about food goes a long way. So if you've got eggs that chickens are just normal eggs, then those are sold. But you can't sell free range eggs under that guise if they are not free range. They don't range and wander, and they're not happy chickens. They're not happy chickens laying those eggs. No wonder we've got issues of mental health. They're probably putting in their upset into the eggs. We're eating the eggs, and now we're messed up.
You know what I mean? Mental.
That's probably what it is.
Them,
mad chickens letting us be
eggs.
mad people.
Mad chicken disease, as they call it.
It could be. It could be. You never know what's in our food. I had some pizza over the weekend. This is another one of my problems, right? And it had chicken on it, which wasn't chicken. It looked like chicken. It was cubed up, so you couldn't really see if it was proper. But it weren't chicken. It was some sort of substitute chicken. And yet we're paying more for foods that don't contain real food. This is not real chicken. So how can you tell me the cost of food has gone up and it's not real? The meat is not real. It's not even real meat. It's probably got 2% of meat in there, and the rest is water and corn flour and anything else they want to put in there also. Yeah. That's my rant over again. God. I hate talking about food. It puts me off all food. The price of everything is rising. You do know that come next week, all right? It's going to be the 1st of April. All the new price rises come into effect, right? So your council tax bills, and I feel sorry for all you guys in Birmingham. I'm sorry. 10% rise on your council tax this year. Everybody else is between 3 and 4.8, 9, 6%, but Birmingham has had one of the biggest rises in council tax. So come April the 1st, you'll see, your new bills will probably be available now to view. Water bills, there's an increase going up depending on where you are. Severn Trent, Thames, Water, Southern, any of those. The only thing that seems to be going down is utilities. It's not so bad. Broadband bills are going up. You're going to see those rising also. And also Sky is going up. I'm sure some of your subscriptions are going up. Also talking about banking charges to be raised as well, to go up. There's going to be the end of free banking. They're looking to get rid of that. No more free bank accounts. You're going to have to pay for anything that's run on there. Okay. We talked about Companies House. Fees are going up for you to set up another company. That's going up. Also, what's going up is passport fees. So if your passport is due, okay, the fees are going up from the 11th of April. The fees for passports are going to be increased. Right now, for an adult which is 16 years and over, a normal 34-page passport is £82.50. And if you do an online order, it's £93. Now that's rising to £88.50. Not a significant amount like in Companies House what they did, but still an amount that we have to pay for. Children's passports, and it's going to be how much is it? £101 online for adults versus what it is now, which is £93. You want a 54-page passport, that's increasing up to £100. And just have a look. And for children's passports as well, that's normally £64.50, and that's rising to £69 for children. And obviously the online fees are going to be a lot higher. So if your passport needs renewing, you might want to get it in now.
So you're saying that it costs more to actually do it online?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Wow. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It really doesn't make sense. Why would it cost more?
Oh, no, you
to do
forgive
online?
me. It's me. I'm not awake yet, and I'm looking at the
Wake
wrong
up,
titles.
HPQ.
I'm not awake. I'm giving you wrong information there. Oh, my God, I'm shocked. Sorry.
False information, panicking us like people that are awake.
All right, I'm sorry. Let's start again. Okay, so the usual fees for passport online, right, is £82.50 for adults, right, and £53.50 for kids. Consecutively by paper for adults, it's £93 and £75 for kids. Okay, it's now going up to online £88.50 for adults and £101 if you're going to apply online. £65.50 for kids.
So if you're applying online for your passport, it's costing more.
It's costing less.
You said £101 if you're applying.
No,
online,
I said on paper. On paper.
Okay, you actually said 101 if you apply.
No, £88.50. Okay.
Okay.
Online, and then £101 for paper.
For paper, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I'm sorry if I confused everybody. It's a bit like my joke the other day when I was trying to work it out, right?
Is it me or did I hear right? Anyway, you see, it says HPQ, you still sleeping too.
Oh, you know what it is? You know what it is, Spice Nice? I've got 2 sets of articles up, and one is doing it via one feed, and another is doing it by another feed, and I got them all confused. Yeah, I think I'm still asleep as well. With that,
Yeah,
there's
keep
only
waiting.
9 minutes to go. It's been a sleepy breakfast flight show this morning. We're going to be back full on next week, and don't forget, next week we've got Richard Blackwood on the show on the Tuesday. Please tune in on Tuesday, which is going to be the what, Sharky?
The breakfast special, comedy special coming up Tuesday, the 2nd of April.
The 2nd of April. It's on the...
There you go. I'm awake, you know. That's why I'm catching what you're saying now. I am awake.
We're getting there. And if you saw me smiling earlier on, I had my work computer open because I finished my contract this week and I'm not working for April. And I'm sending a note to my colleagues saying, yay, no work after this week.
No work, so you're going to have a candlelight afternoon.